is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock, he hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
Dante will dribble it out! The Ducks are Pac-12 tournament champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is a Wednesday here in the Country Financial Studio, and what a last 24 hours it has been for the Ducks. We've got individual honors for baseball players, women's golfers, track and field runners, all across the board in Oregon athletics in the last 24 hours. It's a triple header in terms of individual awards and some team honors as well. I'm Ryan Milano taking you through today's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Got kicked off right about at the end of the show yesterday when Joey was wrapping up. There were some individual baseball honors that came down, not from the league office, from the national office. Jacob Walsh named National Hitter of the Week, the Dick Hauser Trophy National Hitter of the Week. Jacob Walsh by the NCBWA, the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association. Walsh in the 4 games last week slashed .706 his batting average, .750 and 1,600. That's a 1.647 OPS for Jacob Walsh last week. Oregon went 2-2 in that time frame. Jacob Walsh went 12 for 17 in the 4 games last week. 8 of his 12 hits were for extra bases. He had 4 home runs, 4 doubles, and 4 singles in 17 at-bats. That is good enough for National Hitter of the Week. He had multiple hits in all 4 games. He had a 4-hit game and 2 3-hit games. So 1 4-hit, 2 3-hit, and 1 2-hit game for Jacob Walsh in a time frame in which he hit 4 home runs, 4 doubles, and 4 singles. He came off of a stretch where he went 0 for 12 the weekend prior. Coach Wazakowski challenged him a little bit on the Toyota Coaches Corner leading in to the midweek game against Gonzaga. I think Jacob Walsh rose to the challenge. Yeah, all he did was win National Hitter of the Week. Congratulations, Jacob Walsh. We just talked with him down for baseball interviews. We'll hear some from Coach Wazakowski on today's show. Going to try to get to Jacob Walsh potentially on tomorrow's show. The women's golf team, they were in action in the Pac-12 championships, and Kiara Romero, all Pac-12 first-teamer. She gets recognized as one of the top shooters, top golf rounds for Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. She made 7 birdies, 0 bogeys en route to a 7 under par. She shot 65 on Tuesday as the Oregon women's golf team finished in totality in 3rd place due to the help of 2 all Pac-12 honorable mentions, Chingzu Chen and Minori Nagano. Both for Oregon getting all Pac-12 honorable mentions, shooting strong rounds across the Pac-12 championships up in Washington over the weekend at the Palouse Ridge Golf Club. The Ducks capped a strong week with a 10 under as a team in that final round to place inside of the top 3 in the conference tournament. It's the 3rd year in a row Oregon is inside the top 3. Finished 16 under par as a team across the tournament, finishing just behind Stanford and USC, who are both ranked inside of the top 10. And those performances from Oregon earned them a spot in the regional. The Ducks, they're ranked inside of the top 25, and Oregon is now the 3 seed in the Auburn regional. So the Ducks, they're going to the postseason. The number 1 seed actually in that regional, it's not Auburn, not the host. South Carolina is the 1 seed. Then it's Auburn, the host seed, as the 2 seed. Then Oregon at 3, Georgia at 4, North Carolina, Michigan, Houston, Tulsa, Miami of Florida, Kennesaw State, East Tennessee State, and Alabama. Those are the 12 teams going up against the Ducks in the regional round in Auburn to kick off the postseason play for Derek Radley's squad. So those are some of the individual and team performances on the women's golf front. On the track and field front, it's the Pac-12 Women's Track Athlete of the Week, Aaliyah McCormick, getting honored as she put in a personal best performance at the Mount Sac Relays. It's the first conference honor of her career, the 6th Athlete of the Week for Oregon this season. It feels like the Ducks every single week have had an honor and have had a Pac-12 Track Athlete of the Week on the women's side. It just feels like Oregon continues to churn in performance after performance. Aaliyah McCormick ran a conference-leading 12.81 in the elite section of the 100-meter hurdles at the Mount Sac Relays. She finished as the top collegian and was 2nd overall in the race. Her time doubles as a lifetime best and ties Sasha Wallace as the number 2 performer in program history. Beats a 12.85 that she ran last year at the Pac-12 Championships. Beat that by 0.04 of a second. Congratulations to Aaliyah McCormick. So Jacob Walsh, National Hitter of the Week in the country. In the country, not just the Pac-12, in the country. Then you've got all Pac-12 teamers, a first teamer and 2 honorable mentions for women's golf, and the Pac-12 Track Athlete of the Week for track and field. That's just a little snippet of what's been going on around the athletic department. On today's show, we'll get to hear from a lot of football. We'll hear from Will Stein coming up in just a moment. Also, Rashad Samples joining the staff, hearing from him, the running backs coach for the first time here on Duck Insider. Joey sat down with Melyssa Lombardi earlier in the week, and we'll also hear from Coach Wazakowski fresh off the press as he just talked with the media ahead of Oregon State Week in a series that has a lot of implications in the Pac-12 conference. First, yesterday, the offensive coordinator of the football team, Will Stein. He spoke with the media. We had so much to get to yesterday that Joey didn't have a chance to talk to Will Stein. We'll talk with him now. Here's the OC for the Ducks. It's Will Stein.
That you want Dylan to look at and address, whether it's with 3D QB guys or anybody else or on his own?
It's just like any guys that are newcomers, just learning our system and being a master of the little things. It starts with knowing the formation, understanding protections, and then just time on task. I mean, the more we do it, the more we rep it, the better these guys get. So I really like where we're at. We're nowhere where we need to be just yet, but we're definitely on schedule.
How did you feel the quarterbacks performed in general in the 2 scrimmages?
I thought they played well. Again, there's good and bad with every scrimmage. I always try to put it in perspective and know that it is spring. Guys are learning. And the biggest thing we want to see is not making the same mistake twice. And I think that's really shown up in terms of the growth process. They're really starting to click and understand, what we're trying to do offensively. It's different verbiage for newcomers, and I know what he can do. I know what Dante's capable of. Austin knows that has had a terrific spring. So we got really good depth in that room, competition, and then great camaraderie that I think is really shows on the field.
Where's the offense collectively gotten better 1 through 12 practice?
There's a lot of different things. I think our ability to run the ball without RPOs, we're going into a league that is notorious for physical style of football, and we believe we have that going into this conference, and we got to be able to run the ball in the 4th quarter to win. So I think that's shown up in terms of just our run plan, our run game, being able to call a hard ball run without maybe an RPO and be able to get guys in certain spots to block extra support players or gain hats to the box in different ways. But, we've seen a lot of growth throwing the ball down the football field with our receivers. We're really deep at that position. I think us being able to utilize our tight end even more this year with Ferg, with Pat, with Kenyon, to me, that's a big area for me going into this next season, using those guys more in the pass game.
How do you think that the depth that this receiver room has is going to impact for you guys in the season?
It's huge. I mean, whenever you can roll 6, 7 deep at wide out, you got a really good room. So, We still want to keep our play count up. And, early in the year, especially with weather and the heat, you want to be able to roll a lot of guys in there. And, we got a lot of good players. So it's about getting those kids the ball and getting their confidence up early.
What have you liked that you've seen from Evan Stewart so far in the spring?
I love his ability to compete. I love his speed, his coachability. He's been a joy to be around, and he's another guy that's improving every single day and learning our system, and I think the sky's the limit for him.
Has any of the freshman receivers stepped up and kind of separated themselves so far in these initial practices? Yeah,
I think they've all done a good job. Ryan Pelham's a guy that's smart, tough, dependable, has been able to really pick up our offense quickly. Love what Jeremiah McClellan's does, his physicality, his catchability. Dylan Gresham can really take the top off, and when he gets the ball in hand, he's really tough to tackle. Jack Royster does a really nice job over the middle, wet slot. So even guys like Roger Saliapaga, he's a young tight end, but has shown the ability to be physical and can really run and catch as well. So we're blessed right now. We got a lot of good players on our roster. And now it's just us. It's about us coaching them up and getting them right and setting them free on Saturdays.
Do you have a plan set yet for how you're going to split reps on Saturday with the quarterbacks?
No, we haven't necessarily mapped that out quite yet, but it'll be somewhat even. You want to give everybody an opportunity and see what they can do on that setting. We get evaluations on them every single day, and we've had 2 scrimmages already, but definitely want to give them the limelight, with the fans, with the real clock, real officials out there. So we'll get it set and try to make it, as even as we can, but it's never perfect.
A lot of the attention is on Dante and Dylan at quarterback, and understandably so, but what have you seen from Luke Moga and his development as he kind of gets his first taste of college ball here?
Yeah, Luke is a kid that he just hasn't played a ton of football. He's only played a quarterback for a few years, but extremely coachable, very smart, and wants to be great, and has been doing everything in his power to achieve that. So quarterback's tough. I told Luke to ask Austin Novosad what his first spring was like here. The amount of defense that you see, the speed of the game. And if you see where Austin is now compared to this time last year, the guy has total command of our offense and is playing really well. So Luke's going to get there. He's not there yet, but he's on his way. And, again, if we can just get him to master the offense, the little things, I think his athletic ability and his talents will take over.
You spoke a bit earlier this spring about how it's going to be fun for you to try to get all of your weapons the ball this upcoming year. Can you just speak to how valuable it is to be able to spread the ball around and just kind of break defenses down a bunch of different ways?
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be stressful, though, too. There's a lot of players on our team. So, no, it's a great, wonderful problem to have. But it comes back to game planning, and when you're in that setting, personnelling specific plays for specific kids, I think is huge. So we'll see when we get there. Right now, it's more base offense. Kids are just learning the concepts, and the ball's not necessarily going exactly to a specific person right now because we have split teams and just trying to master the little things. But once we get really in the thick of things in the season, it's about getting those kids the ball and getting their confidence up early.
What have you liked that you've seen from Evan Stewart so far in the spring?
I love his ability to compete. I love his speed, his coachability. He's been a joy to be around, and he's another guy that's improving every single day and learning our system, and I think the sky's the limit for him.
Has any of the freshman receivers stepped up and kind of separated themselves so far in these initial practices?
Yeah, I think they've all done a good job. Ryan Pelham's a guy that's smart, tough, dependable, has been able to really pick up our offense quickly. Love what Jeremiah McClellan's does, his physicality, his catchability. Dylan Gresham can really take the top off, and when he gets the ball in hand, he's really tough to tackle. Jack Royster does a really nice job over the middle, wet slot. So even guys like Roger Saliapaga, he's a young tight end, but has shown the ability to be physical and can really run and catch as well. So we're blessed right now. We got a lot of good players on our roster, and now it's just us. It's about us coaching them up and getting them right and setting them free on Saturdays.
Do you have a plan set yet for how you're going to split reps on Saturday with the quarterbacks?
No, we haven't necessarily mapped that out quite yet, but it'll be somewhat even. You want to give everybody an opportunity and see what they can do on that setting. We get evaluations on them every single day, and we've had 2 scrimmages already, but definitely want to give them the limelight, with the fans, with the real clock, real officials out there. So we'll get it set and try to make it, as even as we can, but it's never perfect.
A lot of the attention is on Dante and Dylan at quarterback, and understandably so, but what have you seen from Luke Moga and his development as he kind of gets his first taste of college ball here?
Yeah, Luke is a kid that he just hasn't played a ton of football. He's only played a quarterback for a few years, but extremely coachable, very smart, and wants to be great, and has been doing everything in his power to achieve that. So quarterback's tough. I mean, I told Luke to ask Austin Novosad what his first spring was like here. The amount of defense that you see, the speed of the game. And if you see where Austin is now compared to this time last year, I mean, the guy has total command of our offense and is playing really well. So Luke's going to get there. He's not there yet, but he's on his way. And, again, if we can just get him to master the offense, the little things, I think his athletic ability and his talents will take over.
You spoke a bit earlier this spring about how it's going to be fun for you to try to get all of your weapons the ball this upcoming year. Can you just speak to how valuable it is to be able to spread the ball around and just kind of break defenses down a bunch of different ways?
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be stressful, though, too. I mean, there's a lot of players on our team. So, no, it's a great, wonderful problem to have. But it comes back to game planning. And when you're in that setting, personnelling specific plays for specific kids, I think is huge. So we'll see when we get there. Right now, it's more base offense. Kids just learning the concepts. And, the ball's not necessarily going exactly to a specific person right now because we have split teams and just trying to master the little things. But once we get really in the thick of things in the season, it's way more personnel based and getting specific guys in the game that can go make plays on certain plays. That makes sense.
You've been here now. You're going into your second year. What do you like about the University of Oregon and, for that matter, the Eugene area in general?
The people. I mean, I think it all boils down to that. Fantastic people that have been welcoming and loving since the minute I stepped foot on this campus. I think the leadership at this university is top notch, top down. I mean, there's a direct vision and alignment, and it doesn't veer. And, I feel that. I've been at other universities, and there's no place like Oregon. I've never seen it done like this. And, again, it goes back to the people, the way they treat you. It's very blue-collar, old-school mentality. But, we do it different, and we're growth mindset oriented and just great people.
The last 2 years you've relied on 4 receivers maybe. Do you think this year could be a year where you said 6 or 7? Is it possible we get into the season and the rotation does expand like that?
I think so. I really do. And, I mean, we're deep at tight end as well, and our running backs catch the ball in the backfield. So, again, it's a little too early to tell, but when you have this much talent, you don't want to watch them sit on the sideline. If you can rotate kids in, that's a good thing. The key is rhythm and not disrupting rhythm of a game. But, we only played 4 or so last year because we didn't feel like necessarily at that time that maybe more guys could go in the game and produce at that clip. But some of those guys that we were like, well, can they? Now they're a year older. A guy like Kyler Casper is killing it. He's killing it. Time on task. He has just been very coachable, plays fast, plays the right way, doesn't complain, goes out there and works. And he's a kid that I know he's going to talk to you guys here in a second. I'm just thrilled with his development and where he's at.
As a play caller, how do you balance kind of, wanting to have fun in the spring game and do things that might excite the fan base, but still not showing too much because you don't want to give up?
Yeah, we'll be real simple. You guys have seen us play. We like to shift, move, and motion. We throw the ball down the field in the flat. We do a lot on offense, have a lot of schemes. I want the kids to play fast and free, not have to overthink. I'm not trying to out-scheme Tosh. He's not trying to out-scheme me. Can our kids go out and just execute a play, in that environment? We know the older veterans will be able to, but those young kids, when you go out, if you do too much, I mean, you can just fry their brain a little bit, right? So we want to keep it simple, but we do want to have some fun, throw the ball on the field, maybe have a trick or two to get everybody excited and think I'm some genius play caller with a reverse or something, but we just want to have fun and cut it loose.
Talked earlier in the spring about developing a little bit of chemistry with the twos in terms of the offensive line and having some answers for the long-term aspect of that. What have you seen from that group, and how has Iuli's injury kind of impacted the ability to evaluate that unit as a whole?
I think they've done really well, and the way that we mix our groups up, you have older guys with younger guys, so we believe is how you can develop. It's not that you're out there with 5 newcomers and the calls might not be getting in across the board. So now you have a Lipe next to a Josh Connerly. So when they talk about a deuce block, like Josh can help a kid out like that. So I'm excited about their development. And one of those young guys are going to have to play for us this year. I think that's pretty much apparent based on it's such a violent position and tough. And, we want to be at least 7 deep, 7, 8 deep. Last year we were able to play some people in spots. I had a young guy like Poncho last year playing. And, Charlie Pickett's probably a guy that might have to rely on some this year. Lipe, Janoris, those young guys it's just every year it's going to happen, every year. So you want to make sure you're deep in that position. And they've done a good job.
That's Will Stein breaking down the new look offense for Oregon football headed into this year, headed into the spring game on Saturday, 1 o'clock. Entrance is free. Bring some non-perishable food items for Food for Lane County. There's a Matt Carney concert that will be on the field after the game. That's Will Stein, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. We're hearing from another member of the offensive coaching staff, a new member, Rashad Samples, the newest coach for the Ducks, the running back coach, when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Spring Showers, these tough Toyotas can handle whatever you got. The rugged Tacoma, trail-ready 4Runner, and the versatile RAV4 Hybrid turn your puddles into playtime. For more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Spring Showers, these tough Toyotas can handle whatever you got. The rugged Tacoma, trail-ready 4Runner, and the versatile RAV4 Hybrid turn your puddles into playtime. For more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We just heard from Will Stein, one member of the offensive coaching staff, the offensive coordinator. Now we're going over to the newest coach, a assistant head coach, running backs coach, new man in charge of the tailback room. Rashad Samples, he spoke with the first time over the weekend as a member of the Duck coaching staff. And, well, now we get to hear from him for the first time, brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Here is the new running backs coach, Rashad Samples.
Like playing for Drew, and at what point did you think I'm going to be working with this guy in the future?
It was good, man. Drew was always an awesome coach. He communicated well. He was good to me as a player. He was really a player's coach when I was a young guy. And so I don't think it ever dawned on me that we'll be working together. I GA'd for him my first year, and right before he left. So that was an awesome experience, but never did I expect us to be on the same staff. It's kind of crazy coming full circle.
What have the past couple of weeks been like, kind of transitioning here, obviously getting the job, and then actually getting ingratiated here with the team?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I think I landed at midnight and then had my first practice last Tuesday. So if you can imagine studying the playbook on the plane on the way here, watching videos, then staying up all night, it's been a grind, but it's been exciting, man. The culture and the energy around here is really uplifting, and it's fun. It's been fun.
I know it's been hectic, obviously, but why was this the right choice to make in your career?
Just continuing to grow, being around guys like Dan, I think was important to me. One to get an opportunity to be a young head coach. I think learning from Dan, learning some of the things he's done, how he does things, seeing how he goes about it day to day, and then being around guys like Will Stein, Junior Adams, Drew, Alik, who's a young, smart coach. I think just positioning myself with these guys is going to continue to grow and help me grow in my career.
Take us into your process of just, like you say, it's hectic. You're trying to learn scheme on the fly. You're trying to learn players and coaches on the fly. How do you even go about tackling that last week?
You don't sleep. You just be relentless about your approach. I mean, you spend all night up here, and then you wake up and you come up here early in the morning. You use the outlets you have. You know, you lean on the players, you lean on the coaches, and you just spend the time grinding and pick it up. Football is football, and everybody has different terminology. I think it's about learning that terminology and learning the players, connecting with those players. So as I learn, I'm able to pour into them and push those guys because we have that connection.
How much of Jordan and Noah kind of helped you with that? Like that, those veteran guys, and you're the newcomer here.
Yeah, it's cool having veteran guys in the room because they have, you know. I've asked them a couple times, let's stay and watch this, or, you know, talk me through your eye progression here, talk me through what you see here, talk me how y'all done things in the past, the things you like, the things you don't like. It's been good. When you got veteran guys who are mature about the process, understand the day-to-day, it makes it a lot easier coming in and being able to bounce things off those guys.
How did your relationship with Kenny and his familiarity with Dan kind of help in this entire process?
Oh, it helped a bunch because there was definitely some crossover. There's definitely some crossover between the programs and how we did things. Kenny was awesome to work for, so he was good to me too as a head coach, but it helped a bunch. I think the transition from Kenny here made it so much easier.
You know, had a handful of practices. How would you assess your room and kind of the growth you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think we got a really talented room. Those guys in the room can play from the top to the bottom, and you know, I think we just got to continue to be detail oriented, be detail focused, and build on the things that build on our weaknesses, you know, and spend time in the film room, you know, spend extra time. We talk about being the first one on the field and one of the last ones off, all right? So spending extra time, and then ultimately owning the ball, protecting the quarterback, and going and being violent in the run game.
When it comes to the recruiting side of things, what are the traits that you look for? I mean, everybody wants the biggest, the strongest, the fastest at every position, but what is a running back that plays for you? What are the traits that you look for that they have to have?
You got to love football. To get in a car crash every single play in the backfield, you're taking on blocks, you're taking on defensive ends, you're running up back, you're running in the hole with backers. You got to be a contact initiator, and you got to love the game. You got to love being back there. Obviously, you talk about speed, you talk about guys who can play with pace is important, right? The higher you get, the less speed starts to matter, right? You want guys with short area burst, short area quickness, who understands the line of scrimmage, where I'm inserting in the line of scrimmage, backer play. Really just students of the game is going to help so much when you got the talent at the running back position and you're a student of the game and understand how to split out, how to play receiver, understanding formations and how that changes the structure of the defense. I think it helps a bunch.
How much have you had to reshape the board a little bit because if each coach has their own stamp and their own guys that they're looking for to maybe retool either geographically or skill-wise as far as what you're targeting?
Not a bunch. I think, you know, when you come in a place, especially that's had success, I think the worst thing you can do is come in and try to recreate the wheel. Right? They've had success here recruiting running backs. I think Dan does a good job overseeing it. I think the recruiting staff here does a great job. So more than I've tried to come in and reshape the board, I tried to come in and build relationships that were already there, build on the relationships that's already there, and just see what goes on from there.
The last running back coach here made a real point to speak to the older guys, not the past guys in the room, the legacy guys, the Michael James, Rich Freeman, all of them. How important is that to you? Have you reached out to any of those guys? What's your kind of plan on that front?
Yeah, it was awesome. I actually talked to Michael while I was on the plane studying the plays. So I've talked to him. I've talked to Kenyon Bonner. Those guys have been awesome. I saw he put out a tweet when I was mentioned that I might be a target for the job, and he was like, I like it, and I sent it to him, and I said, I appreciate the support. And, you know, he's actually talking me through the whole through the whole process, even giving me suggestions on where to live. So, man, it's important. You know, I grew up watching those guys, and that's what I told Kenyon Barner. I told him I grew up watching you guys, watching the success you guys have, you know, one of the best duos in the backfield, and it's important to keep that alive and also build on it. You know, when you leave that kind of legacy, you don't want that legacy to die. You want more guys in the room who can continue to keep the running back group name living on, and so that's what we hope to do.
You were coaching receivers at the last stop. What's allowed you to kind of coach receivers there and running backs here? Has there been I know you've done it before, but a process of kind of getting back to coaching running backs?
Yeah, just conceptual awareness of the game and understanding. The receiver position is definitely a little bit different, but, you know, you're still trying to build habits every day. You're trying to still be consistent. It's different traits, and I did have to knock off a little rust now from coaching receivers, getting back in the running back room. But I coached running backs for 5 years before. I coached it as a young student assistant, so it's been good. It was a slight transition, but it's been back in the groove right now.
Given your background and experience, a lot of people have made conclusions about Texas and its relative importance, and I think fans think you're going to get everybody from Duncanville, apparently. But
that's everywhere I go. They think I'm going to get everybody from Duncanville.
But can you speak to how important Texas is? Well, because they have offered a lot of guys in the state, not just a running back, but what your connections could mean and what you hope they mean on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, Texas is important to me. I'm from Dallas. I recruited Texas all my life since I've been here. Just a relationship with those high school coaches in Texas. I mean, I'm going to be that guy through and through no matter where I go. It's a part of me, so I really don't have to take it anywhere. It just goes where I go, and I've had success everywhere I've gone in Texas, and I think sometimes you just forget about it because you get on the phone and talk to some of these high school coaches, you talk to some of these trainers, you talk to these different people, and, I mean, you just continuing on relationships, and then it just happens to carry over into recruiting and happens to carry over into football and it happens to carry over into signing guys. But it starts with like having real relationships, knowing who to pick up the phone and call, knowing who knows what's going on, knowing who the champions are in every city, and I think I got that down pat in Texas.
You're one of a few coaches on the staff that has NFL experience. What was that time with the Rams like, kind of learning with Sean McVay, kind of working with him, what you learned from that experience?
It was invaluable to my career. Just learning, again, I think the process is more important than the result, so I think it helped me a bunch with my process as a coach. It helped me learn detail. Again, Sean was amazing about communication, so built and grew on how to communicate to players effectively and efficiently and giving them digestible information, because it's one thing to go up and just coach guys and teach guys plays, but is the information you're giving them digestible? Do they understand what you're saying? Being with Sean for that year I spent, I mean, it was invaluable. I got to work with Kyron Williams. I got to teach you different guys, how different guys look, and just what you want going towards the next level, and then how to coach that at this level. It was awesome.
What's one thing that maybe surprised you about Oregon that you kind of didn't expect, before you came here?
That's a good question. It's really green out here. I've never been to Oregon till I got this job. Well, I've been to Portland once, but I never really spent time in Oregon. I think the beautiful scenery, really caught my eye. And then, again, just this place. I mean, it's beautiful. The culture here, the people here are really nice. You know, the people here have been really good to me. But just the culture in the building has been awesome, and it's good to come here every day with guys who are committed to the work. So.
All right, that's good. Good to meet a new coach on the coaching staff. That's Rashad Samples, now in charge of the running backs, also an assistant head coach for Oregon and the football team as they move forward towards the spring game on Saturday. We're switching gears, getting a timeout, and then Joey Mack sat down with Missy Lombardi after senior day. Getting to that conversation next after a timeout on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back here inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. And is there anything better than a win on Senior Day? Scott says no. I say no. There were a lot of emotions at Jane Sanders Stadium over the weekend. Coach Lombardi, her team, resilient, got the win. Did about everything that you want in a Senior Day. The fans who came out, you were absolutely electric. Coach Lombardi thought so as well. Our conversation with Joey Mack. Yesterday they sat down. We're airing it for you here today. Here is the conversation between the head coach of Oregon softball, Missy Lombardi, and Joey Mack.
Rivalry Series win! Hey, Coach Lombardi is here. A Rivalry Series win. Senior weekend, a lot of emotion, so much to unpack. We're going to do all of it. And then preview a weekend ahead that is a little bit odd. We'll talk about that. How you doing after that weekend?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Doing good. Doing really, really good.
Okay, before we press record, I'm going to take everybody inside the process a little bit. We usually talk a little bit before we go, right? You know the first thing that Coach said? The crowd this weekend. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the crowd, huh?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Our crowd roared. They rumbled just for all 3 days. The rivalry series is huge. And, you know, it doesn't matter, like, who's ranked, who's not ranked, record. It doesn't matter. It's rivalry, and anything goes. And so to have our crowd just cheering and just all over, like, just you guys were awesome. Awesome, awesome. I loved it.
What'd you see on the field? You win a series, that's always hard to do in the Pac.
Yeah, no, it is. It's different. The Pac is tough, and that's why we love the Pac. So, no, we knew it was going to be tough. They've got a great pitching staff. They got some power. We were going to have to come and get after it every single game and earn it to earn that series.
And talk a little bit about the senior weekend too. I mean, there's some emotions. We'll talk about Hannah and how everybody just really showed out for Hannah Delgado. But the emotions of senior weekend. What was that like for the student athletes, for the coaching staff this weekend?
It's just a lot. You know, it's a lot. It's bittersweet because we are here to celebrate, and we want to celebrate them big. We like to do things big, especially for our seniors. But you're excited to see what's next for them, but then you're sad to see them go. But we still have a lot to do. You know, we're not done. So it's like, you know, we're celebrating, but we're like, remember, we're not done.
Right.
We're not done yet.
Which brings me to my next point. No more senior talk until the end of the year, because there's still another home game coming up this weekend, another chance to celebrate at the Jane against Northern Colorado at 11 a.m. on Sunday. More on that coming up. How about Kylu Shar? Hit 600 for the series.
She needs to be better.
Yep. Should have been 700.
Exactly.
You know, we say this jokingly. If you haven't caught on, we always kind of joke like she just hit over 500 again. You know, she's hitting in the high 400s on the season. But, Coach, like, isn't that amazing that we can kind of joke about that at this point? Like, how amazing is it, the longevity of what she's done over the course of the season?
It's amazing. I mean, you look at the schedule that we played prior to conference, and then you look at what we are facing every single weekend in conference. And, you know, she's got like there's certain games where they will place 5 infielders, and she will still beat the shift. Yeah. You know, they will strategically pitch a certain way, and she still beats the shift. Like, Kai is amazing.
There's a skill that is, I think, so maybe, I don't know if undervalued is the right word, maybe misunderstood in some ways, but what I'm getting at is when you have the bat control like she does, I know that there's a skill, she's special, but also then how as a coach do you teach that? You know, like how do you even like foster what she's been able to do in her career?
Yeah, no, she's been amazing. And, you know, I think about like Coach Reagan last year and her, they spent a lot of time together, and now this year she spends a lot of time with Coach Rowe and Coach Martyr. It's just such a, you know, finesse. Like you have to be able to finesse it. You know, home run hitters, they come up, they swing the bat hard, the ball goes. Like, it's finesse. And if you were to go back and look at all the pitches that she's hitting, they're not right over the plate. They're high, they're low, they're in, they're out. I think what's really great as well is that if you look and see the strikeouts that she has, she doesn't have very many.
Low.
And on top of that, you will watch her. She does a really good job of understanding, especially like leadoff. She understands how to work the count, but also get on. She will not chase pitches. So it's, you know, you could just look and go, well, she slaps the ball, and she's so fast and she's on, but there's so much more to it. Like her ability to really understand the strike zone and have the breaks on pitches and to make the pitcher to work counts, to see her ability to be able to place the ball on pitches that are not even in the strike zone. She's so talented.
Bat control, plate discipline, plate vision. I mean, all these things factor in, right? I'm amazed. An All-American, I think. Kai Lushar, we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. Also, though, a cool note on senior weekend that 5 seniors hit 300 or better in the series. Ariel Carlson, Alyssa Daniel, Emma Kauf, Valerie Wong, and Taya Bird all hit over 300. You got some veterans in your order. Yeah. That pays off in a series like this.
It does. We call them our elders, and they're elders for a reason. They've been here. They've done it. They've got the knowledge. They've got the experience. They know what they need to do. And what was really cool is, you know, we didn't get what we wanted on Saturday. So to see them lead the charge on Sunday and say, this is we're getting what we want. And we're doing it our way was awesome.
And then
that is part 1 of the conversation with Joey Mack and Coach Lombardi. The seniors leading the way on Senior Day. We're going to take a quick time out, and then we'll get to the second half of the conversation between Joey Mack and the head of the softball team, Coach Lombardi, who actually is talking right now with the media as we speak. We'll try to get that for you on the show tomorrow. A ton of content. We still have more talking to Coach Lombardi here today. That's coming up next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Spring Showers. These tough Toyotas can handle whatever you got. The rugged Tacoma, trail-ready 4Runner, and the versatile RAV4 Hybrid turn your puddles into playtime. For more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Spring Showers. These tough Toyotas can handle whatever you got. The rugged Tacoma, trail-ready 4Runner, and the versatile RAV4 Hybrid turn your puddles into playtime. For more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakomick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakomick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack sat down with Coach Lombardi yesterday to talk about the senior day over the weekend in which Oregon beat Oregon State 2 out of the 3 times. It's not the final home game for the Ducks. There will be another home game this weekend on Sunday. Part 2 of the conversation, breaking down senior day and previewing this weekend with Joey Mack and Coach Lombardi. Here's part 2.
And then surrounded by a lot of emotions and a chance to talk a little bit about what happened on Sunday. We've heard a little bit from everybody post-game, getting the series win. But if you missed it, Hannah Delgado started in center field on Sunday, was lifted prior to the first pitch. A long-standing ovation. And if your eyes didn't swell while that was going on, then you weren't paying attention. It was really amazing to see that. Just, Coach, that was a special moment.
It was, and it was a moment that was so well deserved. I think of Hannah and what she's done for us in the 4 years that she's been here. I think of her leadership. I think of her as a watchwoman for the younger athletes on our team. Just all of her hard work. Like, Hannah works really, really hard, not just in softball, but in school and really in everything she does. And she was having such an unbelievable year. And it just stinks with the way things happened in Arizona. We're so thankful that to see her walk off the field this past weekend and see that she's going to have a full recovery. I mean, that matters more than anything softball, related. That's what matters the most, and that's what we all get and understand. But I think it was really important for her to be able to start in the lineup and go out on the field one last time.
What an inspiration. I mean, you talk about someone that works really hard and certainly hard work ahead, but just shout out to Hannah and to everybody who gave that standing ovation. I mean, I know that's an emotional moment. And then to come out and win the game, Coach. I mean, there's so much going on, I'm sure, in everyone's minds there. And it just feels like the storybook script that you have to end up winning the game, a rivalry series on senior day. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. And, it's tough. I credit our athletes. They're excellent. I love this group. It's a lot of emotion, and it's been a lot of emotion for us for these last couple weeks. And then to see her come off the field, and every one of us felt the same way. And then it's like, okay, well, you got to turn it on now.
Right.
Which is difficult to do. And I just thought I thought our team handled it really well. And you know what? They played their butts off for her, is what they did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I said that we'd look at senior weekend, the emotions here, and then a lot of work to be done, and we'll talk about some of these great careers. But as things sit right now, how about this note? Oregon natives Ariel Carlson and Alyssa Daniel have combined for 23 home runs and 83 RBI this season. You've recruited the best in the state, and they've had some great careers for you.
Yeah, it's been awesome watching those two. And sometimes they're 3 and 4 or 2 and 4, but just to be up in the lineup together, it's been cool to watch them. Two others that have worked extremely hard. I was saying this the other day, just after our game. Some of these guys, you see a difference with them, and it's just, as they get older, they start to understand exactly what they need and how they need to do it to be great.
Sure.
And maybe the worries or maybe limits early in their career that, athletes can put on themselves as they get older, they just don't. They want it. They know what they need to do. They're not worried about what if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And they're willing to put the time, the work into it. And that's what you see with Ariel and with Liz.
Well, I want to take a moment and just have a little campaign if we could. This is part of, you're listening to Duck Insider. Clearly, we have a bias. So listen to some of these numbers, okay? Ariel Carlson, the Pac-12 leader in home runs, number 2 in runs batted in, 1 behind the leader. Also top 10 in slugging percentage, doubles, and steals. For some perspective, Oregon has had 1 Pac-12 home run champion. It was back in 2007 when Anne-Marie Topp set the school record with 19 home runs. Okay, more coming here. Greg Walker, we love you, buddy. Only 2 Ducks have won the RBI crown. And now Ariel Carlson is one of only 2 players in Division I with 14-plus home runs and stolen bases. It is so unique to have the power and the speed. I've made the case. We'll keep making the case. Pac-12 Player of the Year.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. To have the power and to have this, I mean, she could lead off we obviously have our lead off in Kai.
She's not bad.
Yeah.
Second in the Pac-12 at 438 in batting average.
Exactly. But she could be a lead off and start the game off with a home run, with Ariel. She has such great speed. Ariel, just like I said, she's worked really, really hard. I think of the summer before her junior year where she wanted to do something different and really be great. And you're seeing these next 3 seasons. And here she is.
Yeah, it pays off. Talking softball with Coach Lombardi. Okay, so this week, a top 25 team, last home game of 2024, Northern Colorado, 11 a.m. on Sunday. It's on Pac-12 Oregon and on KWVA. You can listen tonight there. What do you expect, Northern Colorado? Maybe back up a little bit. With the Pac-12 bye week, I know it's tough to schedule a 3-game series, but it does mean you have a little extra practice time, I'd imagine. So, what's the practice plan? How do you approach that as a coaching staff?
No, it does. It gives us the time to, actually get maybe an extra day off to be able to just take I know.
An extra day off?
What is going on here? So, what was I thinking? Okay. No. But it does. It gives us a second in the middle of season, in the middle of Pac, to just take a breath and not have the load of a 3-game series. Allows these guys to get caught up in school a little bit, to get just caught up in life, all of us,
Sure.
And just take a breather. So we're looking forward to it. Northern Colorado is very good. They pitch very well. You look at this year, anybody can beat anybody.
A lot of parity.
It doesn't matter what league you're in. It doesn't matter anything. It's 2 teams get up, and it's time to get after it.
Do you anticipate that parity that we've seen really across all sports? I think as rosters have been older with the extra eligibility year, do you see that curbing back down, or because there's just so much more talent in softball, does the parity continue? I don't know. What's like the coach's perspective over the next few years?
I feel like the parity is going to continue.
Really?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Makes for a lot of stressful outings, right?
Yes.
I can only imagine. Okay, so this is cool. For a class project, by the way, coming up this weekend, Taya Bird is sponsoring a personal hygiene drive, asking fans to bring things like shampoo and conditioner, soap, deodorant, feminine hygiene items, shaving cream and razors, toothpaste, toothbrushes and floss, clippers. All items will be donated to Looking Glass Community Services. This is, again, for a class project for Taya Bird. Pretty cool that you get to have that intersection of an academic project and being a student athlete.
I think it's really cool. This group is really, really big on giving back to the community that cheers for them. And, so I think anytime we have opportunity to give back to our community, we are all on board. And then obviously for an assignment too, that's great as well.
All right. Get that extra day off. More details coming on Oregon Softball social media, GoDucks.com. Final home game at the Jane of 2024 until potentially the postseason. Just going to throw that out there. Just throwing it out there. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
That's Joey Mack's conversation with Coach Lombardi yesterday. They made a little bit of the case for Ariel Carlson as Pac-12 Player of the Year. I want to put her power speed threat into a little bit more context. This season, Ariel Carlson has 46 hits on the year. 14 of those are home runs. 11 of them are doubles. So 25 of her 46 hits are for extra bases. That means that she has 21 singles this year. And you think prime stolen base opportunities, you're on first base with no one in front of you. There are chances to steal second. Yeah, it's not an exact science, but let's just say that the only stolen base opportunities is when she's on first base. She's had 21 singles this year, 19 walks, 3 hit by pitches. That's 43 chances on first. Obviously, fielder's choices, errors, not an exact science. Sometimes there are runners in front of her, so also not an exact science. Of those 43 chances on first base, 15 steals. She's running a little bit less than half of the time she's on first base. Some of those not even stolen base scenarios. Power speed threat, Ariel Carlson, who, oh yeah, by the way, Joey mentioned is leading the conference in home runs. One shy of the RBI crown. Ariel Carlson is putting up one heck of a season. And I'll also bang the drum for that Pac-12 Player of the Year. We're getting our final timeout, and when we come back, there's more going on in Oregon athletics throughout the next few days. We're breaking it down when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union, and it's time for this week's Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Acrobatics and tumbling going into their NCATA championships coming up. Tomorrow at 1:30 is the first round, going up against University of Mary Hardin Baylor. That'll be on ESPN Plus, going on simultaneously with tomorrow's show. That is the 4-seed Ducks going up against the 5-seed University of Mary Hardin Baylor. Also for beach volleyball, Pac-12 championships started today. Oregon dropped their opening round 3-1 against Utah earlier today. Now they move over to the contenders bracket later today and will play Arizona at 5:15. That's the Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight. Coming up later in the week, there's so much. We've got football players, Cam Alexander, Jabbar Muhammad, Kyler Casper, Jaden Lamar. Didn't get to Waz today. Maddox Maloney, Jacob Walsh, Logan Mercado, Missy Lombardi, Hannah Delgado, Emma Kauf, and we're also talking with Jessica Drummond right after the show closes up today. A lot to get to throughout the week. Go Ducks.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a